Hey guys, so I'm going to be doing some deadheading and some general perennial cutback in the garden today, and I wanted to take you along with me for that. But as I'm doing that, I also wanted to address a question that I get quite often, whether I'm down at the garden center or on my videos, and that is, what is the difference between deadheading, between the Chelsea chop, and between perennial cutback? They each serve a very, very specific purpose. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to deadhead my roses. I'm going to show you how to go ahead and do that because there's a very specific way to deadhead roses in particular. And then once I'm done showing you how to do that, I'm also going to talk to you about why deadheading is important and what you want to deadhead, because some plants react a little bit differently than others. All right, so along here, I have some David Austin roses. I don't unfortunately remember the exact variety of David Austin roses. I just know that they're David Austin roses. You can see that all their bloom heads are completely spent. So what I want to do is I want to come in here and take off the bloom heads. Now, in some cases, like a peony, you would literally just snip off the top of the bloom head. You don't want to do that with roses. What you want to do is you want to go down far enough where you find the first set of 5 leaves. So right here at the top of the bud is 3. If you go down one more, there's a set of 5. You want to cut about 1/4 inch above that set of 5. The reason being is the further down you go, the more likely you are to regenerate a stronger bloom stem. So what's going to happen is if I cut down here, there is a node in here that's going to activate and set out another stem. Cutting above 5 leaves better ensures that you're going to send out a stronger stem rather than a really thin, straggly stem. So that's basically how you want to go ahead and trim back your roses. The other thing that you want to do is look to see what direction it's going to go in. So I want to make sure that everything is going out and not facing towards the inside of the plant. This allows for proper air circulation. So as I'm going ahead and pruning and deadheading, I'm also looking to make sure that I'm shaping the bush and the plant appropriately. I also use these gloves. They are a nice thick leather and ensures that I don't get pricked as I'm doing it. I use this also if I'm repotting my cactus. Now, I did go down further because I didn't want to have this really long stem either. So this is also what I mean by looking at the shape of it. Because if I were to have only cut up here, which is my first set of 5, I would have had one really long stem, and I don't want that. Now, in a case like this, all these blooms are obviously spent, so I don't have this issue. But if it was, say it was a couple weeks ago and this bloom had been spent but the rest of them were still blooming, I would just cut this off and wait until the rest of them are completely spent to cut the entire bloom stalk off. All right, now here's a good example where I don't want this entire thing just flopping onto the walkway. So I'm just gonna cut it all the way back. Now here's an example of roses where I don't necessarily need to deadhead. These are drift roses, so these are self-cleaning. So I would only go ahead and deadhead if these rose stems were really bothering me, but they're not, so I'm just going to leave it as is. So another reason you may want to deadhead is because something may self-seed itself very freely throughout your garden. So this is my lady's mantle, and I can find this throughout my garden because I let it self-seed. You may not want that. So what you want to do is as you start seeing the bloom stalks start to dry, you want to cut that off to prevent it from self-seeding. Same thing with your echinacea or your black-eyed Susans. You can see one that's coming up right here. This is a volunteer because I didn't deadhead anything last year because I wanted it to sow itself throughout the garden. Okay, so then we have something called the Chelsea chop. Now for the longest time, I thought the Chelsea chop and just pruning your perennials back were the same thing, and they're not. So the Chelsea chop is named for the Chelsea Flower Show, which happens in late May in the UK. And it really is just a benchmark of the time frame that this should be done. So what you want to do is take certain kinds of your late blooming perennials that bloom in the late summer or early fall, like your sedum autumn joy, like your phlox, like your black-eyed Susans, and cut them down by about half. There's a couple different reasons why people do this. The biggest reason is things of this nature tend to have what they call apical dominance, which basically means that they send up one really tall stem. And if you cut it back during that time frame, around that late May, early June time frame, what that ends up doing is it awakens some of the buds that are on the side shoots, and instead of sending up one tall long stem, it's going to branch out and create more of a bushy plant, and it's going to be lower to the ground. I didn't do a Chelsea chop this year on my autumn joy sedum, so they're nice and tall, but what's going to happen is, it happened to me last year, is if we get a really bad storm, this is going to completely flop over and split, which means that I'm going to have to prune it back in early fall a lot sooner than I would had I done a Chelsea chop. So basically all you're doing is you're delaying bloom time by about 2 or 3 weeks, but you are creating a much bushier and stronger plant that isn't going to flop on you. Now, right now is too late for me to do this, and the way that you know is it's already got buds on the top. If I were to do a Chelsea chop on this now, it will flush back out, but it's not going to give me flowers for the fall. So it's basically my choice. Do I want it to go ahead and flower and then I'll just deal with the flop, or would I forego the flowers and rather have it be nice and strong stemmed for the fall? I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as is, and I'm not going to go ahead and touch this. So some of the other things that are good to do this with, like I already mentioned, the black-eyed Susans, Shasta daisies are a great one. If you get to them early enough in that May-June time frame, they will send out, it'll be nice and tight rather than send out crazy stems all over the place. Mums are also a great one to do this with to make sure that they stay nice and compact. Now, I almost forgot to mention that Joe Pye weed, which is right here, is another thing that can be Chelsea chopped in the early spring season. Clearly, I didn't get a chance to do that because it's basically as tall as my magnolia tree. Now, a couple other reasons why you can do a Chelsea chop. So if you want something to bloom at a certain time during the year, so for example, if you want your black-eyed Susans to be blooming in August because you're preparing your garden for a specific event, or you just like the look of it better in August and you do in early July, you might want to do a Chelsea chop so that you delay that bloom time. Also, the Chelsea chop can be, you can get kind of creative with it. So you don't necessarily have to take the entire thing down to one height. What you can do is you can cut it in tiers. You can basically take the plant and cut it in 2 different tiers and have the back of the plant, leave the back of the plant alone, and then just cut down the front end of the plant. So that this way the back of the plant will bloom. Once those blooms are spent, then the front of the plant will start to bloom and basically hide the blooms in the back. Just experiment with it because there's many different ways that you can do the Chelsea chop. You just need to know what plant to do it with. Now let's talk about perennial cutbacks. So we have Baptisia right here, and as you can see, the Baptisia, the Joe Pye weed, the 9-bark, they're all growing into each other and there's not a lot of space. So what I'm going to do is cut back some of the Baptisia. Now, I don't want to cut it all the way back to the ground. The reason being is it's really important for the health and the growth of the root system of the Baptisia for there still to be some foliage up top, just like your daffodil bulbs. So all I'm going to do is basically cut off the top third of it, and what that's going to do is increase the air circulation, but it's also going to prevent it from flopping later on in the season. So just like my sedum autumn joy, This is another thing, come a heavy windstorm or come a heavy rainstorm, this will go ahead and split and flop all over the place unless I tend to it right now. If I don't tend to it until it flops, then I'm going to basically have to cut it all the way back down to the ground. So if I just give it a haircut, it's going to do a lot better. So they both look a bit wonky right now, but they both will push new growth in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So they will fill back out. They might not grow as tall as they were previously, but they will fill back out into a nice round mound form. They will not get new flowers, but they won't flop either. All right, now here are 2 more perennials that I am going to cut back. One going to be a little bit more significantly. So this salvia, or Veronica, I'm not sure which one it is, I am going to cut back to maybe 6 inches up off the ground. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 12 inches above the ground. This one will give me a second flush of blooms. So it won't be as strong as the first flush of blooms, but it will flush out. And you can actually see in here that there are already buds starting to form. So cutting it back will get the plant to put more energy into sending out that second flush of blooms. The other thing I'm gonna cut back is all this dusty miller. While it looks really pretty right now, if I keep just letting it grow like this, it's just going to get really tall and really leggy by August, and it's not gonna look good. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, great. So how do you know what should be deadheaded, what should be Chelsea chopped, and what should be cut back, and how far it should be cut back? And unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for that. As a very general rule of thumb, anything that reblooms, like a salvia or like a rose, should be deadheaded. Now the salvia you can go through and just deadhead instead of taking it back down to the ground, but it takes too much time, right? So you just kind of go through it and you take it all down. You know, you can kind of intuit that if you did that with a rose bush, it probably wouldn't flush back out and give you the results that you wanted. So it's a little bit of trial and error. And also, luckily, we're in a day and age where we basically carry a computer with us in our pockets all the time. So use Google to your advantage. I'd be careful with ChatGPT. It can give you some wrong answers. I've been more successful with Google. So anything that could rebloom throughout the year, test deadheading it or test cutting it back depending on what it is. Google it when you can. If something is a blooms very late in the season, that is not a shrub, that is more of a perennial that dies all the way back to the ground, try giving it a Chelsea chop. And always, if you have a garden journal, and I'm not the best at this, so this is something I really should take my own advice on. Write it down because you're probably going to forget about it next year. Or again, set a reminder on your calendar that it's late May and it's time to get out here and Chelsea chop your sedums. Because what you could end up with is something that looks great right now and then by August is basically laying on the ground all over the place, flopping all over. I hope that helped. If you guys have any questions or anything to add, leave them in the comments below. As always, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll see you in the garden.